For generations of American kids, Chuck E. Cheese was the ultimate birthday party destination. Pizza, arcade games, and a singing robot mouse, it had it all. At its peak, Chuck E. Cheese wasn't just a restaurant. It was a cultural icon, a place that defined childhood itself. But behind the nostalgia, the flashing lights, and the prize tickets, this is also a story about overexpansion, shifting culture, financial engineering, and one very ill-timed pandemic. This is the rise, decline, and bankruptcy of Chuck E. Cheese. This story begins in 1977 with Nolan Bushnell, the co-founder of Atari. Fresh off Atari's success, Bushnell wanted to reinvent arcades for families. He opened the first Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater in San Jose, California, which is actually this one. It was groundbreaking. Pizza for parents, coin-op games for kids, and a singing animatronic band to keep everyone entertained. The idea took off. By the early 1980s, franchises spread nationwide. Chuck E. Cheese's main rival was Showbiz Pizza Place, which ran a similar concept. But rapid growth came with problems. In 1984, Chuck E. Cheese filed for its first bankruptcy after overexpanding. Instead of killing the brand, Showbiz swooped in and bought it. And by the early 1990s, they unified all stores under the Chuck E. Cheese name, creating the undisputed giant of family entertainment. By the late 80s and 90s, Chuck E. Cheese was everywhere. Having a birthday party there was a rite of passage. Kids ran wild between skee ball, whack-a-mole, and arcade cabinets, clutching streams of paper tickets to trade for cheap plastic prizes. Parents sat at sticky tables, enduring the chaos. Meanwhile, the animatronic band, Chucky and his friends, would come alive every half hour, belting out off-key birthday songs and kid pop anthems. Ahem. Anyways, the sensory overload was unforgettable. The smell of cheap pizza, the cacophony of beeps and buzzers, the dimly lit ball pits. It was noisy, it was tacky, but for a child, it was pure magic. And it made Chuck E. Cheese the place where a kid could be a kid. But what felt fresh in 1985 felt dated by 2005. Kids now had Game Boys, PlayStations, and later iPads. Video games were no longer a novelty you had to leave the house for. In 1981, arcades raked in $5 billion in quarters. By the 2000s, home consoles had eclipsed them completely. Parents complained that restaurants felt grimy and dated, broken and sticky became a common description, and ball pits, once iconic, were phased out over hygiene fears. The animatronic shows, once magical, now looked creepy. By 2017, management admitted kids weren't even watching them anymore. And so competitors filled the gaps. Trampoline parks, bounce houses, Dave & Buster's, all fresher, cleaner, and better targeted. Chuck E. Cheese did try a remodel program in 2017 called 2.0. Animatronics were swapped for dance floors and video walls. Tokens became tap cards. The menu was expanded for adults, but upgrades were slow and expensive, and only a fraction of the stores got them. By the late 2010s, Chuck E. Cheese was stuck between nostalgia and irrelevance. In 2014, Chuck E. Cheese was bought by Apollo Global Management in a leveraged buyout worth $1.3 billion. Apollo also bought Peter Piper Pizza, expanding the portfolio, but the deal came at a cost. Nearly $1 billion in debt was piled onto Chuck E. Cheese's books. Private equity loves cash-generating brands, but debt payments eat up the money that could go to reinvestment. Under Apollo, cost-cutting was prioritized while major upgrades lagged. By 2019, Apollo tried to cash out through a SPAC IPO, valuing Chuck E. Cheese at $1.4 billion. The plan included eliminating animatronics entirely, but the deal collapsed. So by 2020, Chuck E. Cheese was heavily leveraged, culturally dated, and vulnerable. Then came COVID. In March 2020, the pandemic shut down all family entertainment centers. For Chuck E. Cheese, that meant revenue collapsed by over 90% overnight. With no birthday parties, no arcade tokens, and nearly $1 billion in debt, there was just no cushion. On June 25th, 2020, Chuck E. Cheese filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. It listed liabilities of $1 to $10 billion and permanently closed about 4 dozen underperforming stores. The birthday party machine had grounded to a halt. Desperate, the company tried a ghost kitchen pivot, which was just weird. They launched Pasqually's Pizza and Wings on delivery apps, named after one of the animatronic bandmates. To customers, it looked like a local pizzeria. In reality, it was Chuck E. Cheese in disguise. The ruse went viral when a Reddit user revealed her Pasqually orders had come from Chuck E. Cheese. The internet mocked it as pizza catfishing. CEC, Chuck E. Cheese's parent company, claimed the recipe was different, thicker crust, more sauce, but few were convinced. The ghost kitchen lingered for a few years, even after COVID, before finally being retired in 2025. But even without COVID, Chuck E. Cheese faced bigger problems. Demographics. In the 80s and 90s, America had more kids. Larger families meant more birthdays, more tokens, more pizza. Since 2007, the US fertility rates have dropped nearly 20%, falling well below replacement levels. Millennials are just having fewer kids later in life, or none at all. That means fewer birthday parties and fewer reasons for a place like Chuck E. Cheese to exist. So even in good times, the core market was shrinking. And yet, Chuck E. Cheese didn't die. In December 2020, it shed over $705 million in debt, transferring its ownership from Apollo to lenders led by Monarch Alternative Capital. With some breathing room, they invested $300 to $350 million in renovations. Animatronics were completely ripped out, dance floors, trampolines, and obstacle courses went in. Tokens were replaced with tap-to-play cards. Upgrades cost about $550,000 per store, but they paid off. By 2023, sales grew 6.7% year over year, and the company logged 8 straight months of positive same-store sales. Chuck E. Cheese finally had room to reinvent itself again. But in this day and age, kids alone aren't enough. In 2024, Chuck E. Cheese launched Chuck's Arcade. It's a mall-based spin-off aimed at millennials and Gen Xers. Roughly 10 locations have opened so far, featuring retro cabinets like Pac-Man, VR simulators, and even static animatronic statues for Instagram. Some even have bars. It's less about kids' birthdays and more about tapping into nostalgia for adults who grew up with the brand. Chuck E. Cheese wasn't just a restaurant or an arcade. It was childhood. But nostalgia can't survive bad pizza, falling birth rates, or endless debt. Apollo didn't buy Chuck E. Cheese to save it. They bought it to squeeze it. And when COVID hit, the debt nearly killed it. But the bigger lesson, when Wall Street treats culture as just another asset, the magic is always the first thing to go. Chuck E. Cheese's endless party didn't end because kids stopped loving fun. It ended because the business stopped evolving, America stopped having kids, and greed eventually caught up. It was once a place where a kid could be a kid, but in the end, it became where Wall Street could be Wall Street. Thank you so much for watching this video. Did you ever have your party at Chuck E. Cheese or get duped by Pasqually's Pizza? If you have, please let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the rise and falls of brands that shape our culture.